Just a few fellas on a podcast, riffing in the pitching jokes and sharing some laughs. Right, with Jarret Bernstein. Ooh, they want to know if it's something, if it's anything. Often featuring Leedy Corbin.
Oh my God, I don't know what's going on with my hair. I slept in a way that I never have slept before. I swaddled myself like a baby. It's very bizarre. My hair is wild.
I thought you said you swallowed yourself for a moment there, and I was like, all right, we're getting weird stuff in minute one of this thing.
You know, when you get home from the hospital as a baby and people swallow you.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm just gonna have to accept that this hair is. I look like I was cast as a painter in a 90s movie.
Ooh, I like that. I was gonna say you look like you just were making out and you are trying to hide it because you just walked into a business meeting. You know. Mr. Kellogg. Sorry,
Wait, that was Mrs. Kellogg?
Oh no!
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day, Leedy.
It's all for me. I didn't know that. Thank you.
In honor of
Edie, let me explain to you what 10 minutes.
Inter means multiple nationals, so it's not just the U.S., it's all the countries.
In honor of International Women's Day, Leedy is going to be doing all the jokes today.
Oh, God.
Yes. Women are equal, Leedy. You should be able to joke just as well as the men do, so I don't know what you're so absurd about.
Our order today is Leedy.
Yeah, Leedy.
Well, please welcome our guest today, Mr. Jay Black, hilarious comic, Twitter powerhouse, and writer of Lifetime movies.
Ooh, get out.
Oh, is that a secret? Okay, sorry. Nothing.
Is that a real secret? Should we stop talking about this right now?
Oh, no.
No, it's in his bio.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a joke that I make because, like, when I switch during my show to talking about the Lifetime stuff, there's a moment where the audience is like, is this a bit? Or is it real? Because it feels like it'd be a bit that someone would do. And then about 5 minutes in, they realize it's real. So it feels like a weird dichotomy. But in a lot of ways, writing comedy and writing Lifetime movies almost the same thing. It's just one little tweak. And
that's so crazy. I want to see one of your Lifetime movies. What's one of the ones that you wrote?
Well, I mean, Psycho Storm Chaser. Psycho yoga instructor.
Oh, right. The Psycho series. All right.
So they
American Psycho?
American Psycho, no. If I'd written that, I would not be wasting my time. But yeah, so you can check them out. What I always tell people is I don't make any extra money if you illegally stream it on YouTube or whatever. So I'm not telling you to do that, but if you do, I won't necessarily be heartbroken.
Dude, that is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. We have another one that's going to go in April, and I got a couple more coming out this year. So
wow, I was just very curious about the writing of these movies. I was wondering how you got hooked up with writing Lifetime movies. If there's
it's this interesting thing where my writing partner and I, Brian Herzlinger, is my writing partner. He did a movie called My Date with Drew that just went nuts in 2005. It won the Aspen Comedy Festival and all this. And they kept saying, what do you want to do for a follow-up? And he reached out to me and said, we should work together. So we wrote this script called 3 for the Road that I didn't take seriously. I was just like, hey, nothing will happen with this. So I'm just going to write what I think is funny.
Yeah.
And let me put it this way. No one should make this movie because if they do, I will be immediately canceled. It was 17 years ago. And in my brain, I was just like, oh, I'll just write, I was a young guy. Let me just write all the goofy, gross stuff I thought of. So we sent it out everywhere. And, through our agent. And we kept getting calls back from the junior people at each company going, this is the funniest script I ever read. And I was like, oh, great. Are you going to make it? And they would go, no, never knew it. That's really funny. I showed up to my boss. They actively hate you as a human. So, what happened was, as those people that, nothing happened with that, but it sort of opened the door to getting us paid assignments and everything else. And all those junior executives that moved on, they moved on to higher places and started calling us for other gigs. And we got a call from this small company called Marvista and said, do you have any romances? And I said, no. And my writing partner said, actually, we do. And we wrote one real quick. And we sent it in, and they made it. And once they made that, and that got on TV, we started getting more calls to do the TV romance kind of stuff. And we just sort of fell into it, you know? It's kind of interesting.
Wow. I love that. That's an excellent story. I'll attend little events or meetings or Zoom things or classes and stuff where people will come on as guest speakers and kind of share their little like writing adventures and how they, grinded or backdoored themselves or failed up towards something. And this is great. I think this is an excellent story. I love that.
Well, the one thing I would say to anybody listening, and this is like what I tell everybody, is the one thing that my writing partner and I had that I think kind of separated us was that we finished. And a lot of people, like a C- that's done is worth a lot better than a B+ that's never been written. So like creative executives get a lot of crap for being like, well, would a Martian really say that? Because it sounds stupid, but they're actually pretty good once they have something to work with. Sure. So if you can give them something and they can go, all right, well, I don't like 90% of this, but there's the bones of something here. Just get it done. If you get it done and set it out and they don't get precious about it. We wrote like 30 scripts over the course of 6 years. And I would say 28 of them are sitting in a hard drive somewhere, rightfully collecting dust. But just get it done. That's what I say.
Internet dust.
That's
Internet dust, which is what I used to buy from the Silk Road before it shut down.
Just get it done. Thanks, whatever scripts that you have them finished, and that's it. And then
get her done, as I used to say.
Because it's International Women's Day, so get done.
Jay, no, I had a question because you said about 5 minutes in, people normally will realize you're in your act that you're serious about writing Lifetime movies. Do you ever get somebody who will come up to you and be like, "So that was all a joke, though, right?"
We've as comics, we've all dealt with that where they come up and they would come up and ask me stuff. I mean, again, I used to be a teacher. So I would talk about being a teacher on stage, and then you would get the people coming up going, "Was that true? Was that you were really a teacher?" And you always go like, "Well, yeah, but why would I make it up? Like, why would I create an entire weird persona for myself where I taught for 6 years? It's not like I was like, hey, I used to be a rocket car driver. Like it was, it was just like a mundane job that I did. But yeah, people still come up, Brett, all the time, and the dumbest questions.
I have this chunk where I talk about how I have an extremely rare neurological condition called cluster headaches, which is one of the worst pains known to medical science. And I go on about how painful it is and how it used to be called suicide headaches, like all this stuff about what I have to do in order to treat it. And then people are like, "So you made it? That's not true though, right?" And I'm like, I said like 4 times every minute, this is actually true.
Right. Yeah. But that's what you'd say if you were lying too.
That's true. Yeah, I probably am saying it too much.
I think comics screwed it, like Carlos Mencia or maybe Larry the Cable Guy. I think people just messed it up for us by having like people personas that are not them.
I actually saw Carlos Mencia do Brett's cluster headache. Get extensions to what was right and what was wrong.
But everybody believed it when he did it. They were like, "Wow, that sucks. I feel so bad for him."
No,
people
really
would people would go up to Cosby after shows and be like, "Are you really a good person?" He's like, "Nah, I'm a rapist." Yeah, I put something in your drink as you were talking to me.
No, he did the same thing Jay did. He would be like, "Why would I make that up?"
Here, take these.
Really,
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Whenever I do jokes about doing a bunch of weed, no one comes up to me afterwards and asks if it's true.
Well, as I explained, we normally do a little catch up. Anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to share with us today, Jay?
I actually have to take care of my children today, which is terrible. My mother-in-law, who usually takes care of my kids, is sick. And I didn't, well, I mean, bad for her, but worse for me.
Yes. That might always for you.
Yeah. My daughter.
Happy International Women's Day.
Yeah, let's focus on the man's grievances on this very special International Women's Day.
I was just reminded that there was an old Saturday Night Live with Bill Murray and I think it was Gilda Radner. And again, this on International Women's Day, I think it's important to bring this up. She was getting a mastectomy, and the entire thrust of the movie was about his issue with this. And it was like, what about the man's problem with his wife losing her breast? And it was the most horrible thing. But it's funny that 40 years later, we still see everything through the lens of how it affects the white male.
Mhm.
And it's speaking of which, 4 of us on the show, real good diversity, guys. So I'm reminded of when I think about my mother-in-law being sick and how it affects me.
I misheard you. I thought you said vasectomy, and I was like, oh God, Jay Black does not know what a vasectomy is.
I don't know what vaginas or penises are for. I just thought they were decorative.
Rob, I heard the whole thing, and I was like, "Oh, I get the bit is that women don't get vasectomies." It's funny.
I was like,
you gotta go seek it out. It was Bill Murray playing the worst, most toxic human, going, "What? She's losing her breasts? What about me?" And it's wonderfully done, and it is, sad 40 years later that still.
What am I going to put in my mouth when I'm crying?
They were hip enough 40 years ago to get that this is how men saw the world, enough to make a joke about it. And it's weird because you think about like the idea of being woke is only in the last like 5 or 6 years. It's just we just had a different name for it 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's funny about how stupid people were. Now there's a pejorative for it, which is funny to me.
So you got the kids today.
I do. My daughter should be showing up shortly.
Oh, great. Did she bring a bit?
She has a very strong bit that she's doing. It's a knock-knock joke that she's been working on.
Oh, nice.
My 11-year-old is actually probably the funniest human being I know. The other day, you guys know the comedian Chip Chantry? He and I were doing a gig together, and my daughter called, and we were on speakerphone. I was like, honey, I'm in the car with Chip Chantry. Without missing a beat, she goes, "Oh, that guy? Oh, you're right. I remember you talking about him all the time. I'm surprised you're in the same car with him. Don't you think he's an asshole?"
Not bad.
It's so funny and so well done. Chip is not going to believe that she's actually making it up. So the 11-year-old, 6-year-old, maybe not.
What about you, Joe? You got anything going on today?
Always, man, always. I wrote a street joke. And I was like, it just kind of popped into my brain the other day. And I was like, should I present this like as my joke? And I was like, nah, that's too dumb. But it actually kind of fits for International Women's Day. So I can tell you guys right now if you want.
All right.
I'd love to hear it.
All right, here we go. So there's a pirate. And it's his first day of being a pirate. And he gets on the pirate ship. And this other pirate who's like, all right, it's your first day. I'm going to introduce you to all of the other pirates here so you know what's what. You can call me Slippery Willie. You can call me that on account of how many times I have escaped the hangman's noose. Over here, we got Peg Leg Pete. They call him that on account of he's only got one leg, and the other one, where there twas a leg, there now is only a peg. And this last fellow over here, we call him Drybeard. And the new pirate goes, why do you call him Drybeard? And Drybeard's wife goes, yeah, why do they call you Drybeard?
Hey, that's wonderful.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks, tell the
like
streets,
this.
get it out there.
Yeah, start.
Tell the streets.
Get it circulating.
This pirate ship that is so progressive it allows wives on it too.
Oh, yeah. Well, they haven't left yet. All the wives are like hanging out.
Oh, okay.
Say
She's
hi.
out to say goodbye to the pirates.
Exactly.
Do good pirating.
I know a lot of pirate history, and but right before they would go, all the women would come and they would say hi. They'd meet each other like a potluck,
I'm thinking it's like the beginning of the Love Boat where they're all waving off the side of the ship.
100%, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Jarret, I got a question about. So you said it just popped into your head.
Just popped into my head.
What was the kernel? Like, was it Drybeard? Was that the first thing that you thought of? Or were you thinking of like, I got to write a pirate joke that has to do with nicknames? Like, what? Do
You know, it's funny because I wrote it in the shower and I remember thinking it up and then doing the reverse osmosis on it. Because, I remember what it was. So in the middle of the winter, I started getting these really like dry skin under my beard. Yeah. And so I was trying to figure out a way to solve it. And so I was using this like
down on Kirsten. That's for sure.
No, that didn't work.
I have this like face soap that's like really good for your face. And I was like, maybe if I just use a little bit more and I just like put it in here. And then I was like, well, I hope it doesn't give me like a foofy dry beard. And then I was like, Drybeard, pirate name. Ooh, okay. And then I just kind of like spun out from there.
That's excellent. I love it. It gave me total street joke vibes. You know.
Here's just a question for you, philosophically speaking.
All right.
If someone else told that joke, Like, do you consider that a street joke? Like, you would put that out there for other people to tell as a street joke?
I
Or
mean,
do you view it like a bit that's yours?
that's a really good
Not that
question.
any of us are going to take it. I just don't know like how you view that.
I think that if it's not a joke that you can do as part of your stand-up act, then it automatically becomes public domain. I think, that's a question for the community.
What if I was headlining Wednesday at Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club and I were to do that joke? You'd be cool with that? Or
tell me how you guys feel about this, because I am actually curious. I saw when I was very young, I saw a comic do a stand-up set at like this festival in this like mountain resort, and it was family friendly stuff. But I remember this guy being like in the middle of this set, basically saying, everybody, when they leave a comedy show, they always go home and they say, oh my God, I saw this comedian who was so funny, but they can't remember any of the jokes. So I'm going to tell you guys a joke that you can remember. And then he told the street joke. Yeah. And at the time I was like, oh, that's funny. And, I remembered it. But now as a professional comedian, I'm like, what a fucking hack thing to do, to like tell a street joke when you're doing your routine. But so I'm curious, like, because that to me feels like the price of telling a street joke is that all the other comedians are like, are you fucking kidding me? And so if Brett, you were for your headlining gig decided to do Drybeard as a bit, like you could, but every comedian would look down on you. And that's my theory. I want to know what you guys think about that.
I think there's always a way to incorporate. I think it's the joke is there, and you'd have to find your own approach to incorporate a street joke or in a format that wouldn't feel like a street joke, but ultimately, I believe that there's always a way to incorporate it into your act. You just have to be creative about it.
To that end, I think about Eddie Murphy and Raw doing the Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor story.
Yeah.
Tell Bill to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. If Eddie Murphy had said, "Let me do some impressions for you guys," what if Bill Cosby? You God, Jesus Christ! Like when an impressionist says, "I had a weird dream the other night. I fell asleep with the TV on, and I thought I was Homer Simpson." And he started, that's hack, and you want to kill yourself. But that story is not hack even a little bit, even though it incorporates impressions, because the impressions are sort of organic to the telling of that particular story. Right. So I think, Brett, to that end, like if there's a way to bring in a street joke, like in a way that feels organic to the rest of what you do, either your persona or the bit you're doing, I don't think that would be a problem. On that end, let me leave you with this.
I think that, Jarret, you wrote the street joke, so it's yours. It's yours to tell, and you can present it as a street joke if you'd like. And you know what? Honestly, even if you presented it almost the exact same way that this guy presented it, but it was your own street joke, I think that that's actually kind of brilliant, because the concept is right. It's like, hey, usually people don't remember the jokes, but here's one that you can definitely do, but I wrote it. Now, as far as other comics doing it on stage, that makes almost no sense to me. But wouldn't it be like almost more of a compliment in the long run if you like knew that your joke started circulating like in a street joke way? How cool would that be? It'd be like going viral.
Certainly wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
As I was thinking about it, I was thinking about your story about your dad and your dad's friend who makes up street jokes. Oh, yes. And your dad being so blown away by that, and you going, I write real jokes, Dad.
I was thinking about Norm Macdonald too on the roast of was it Bob Saget?
Yeah. He told all those hacky old 1940s jokes.
Night joke book jokes from the 40s, like 101 insults. And it was hilarious, just both in and of itself, but also as a commentary on the stupidity of sort of fake roasts like that. I think there's always a way to do it. I will say the last time I did a street joke was I had to do a G-rated set for the military. And they said G-rated, like I was like, how G-rated? And they were like, really G-rated. Like it was very intimidating. And I had to fill out 40 minutes. And I did not have 40 minutes of the G-rated that they were asking for. So I ended on a street joke that took about 3 minutes to tell. And I'm going to tell you something. I will do it again if necessary. That was a desperation, holding on to a life raft in the middle of Germany, kind of. Oh, it was awful. So in that situation, I it's okay.
I think I heard a story about somebody talking about doing cruise ships. And that the highest paid cruise ship entertainer for like 10 years in a row was a guy who came on, did like, 3 or 4 jokes about the boat itself and like how shitty it was, and then just had note cards and was like, but here's where we are, guys, the note cards, and then just read street joke after street joke after street joke. That's what I heard. I forget where I heard the story from even.
I think I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Jackie the Joke Man Martling?
Oh, sure.
Know the name?
Yeah. As anybody who grew up listening to Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Uncle Vinny's, he's an Uncle Vinny's regular, Brett Druck.
Yeah.
Is he?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyway, somehow he's the one comic that I know who's skirted this, and that's his thing. He tells street jokes for the whole set. It's weird, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Certain comics get grandfathered in. Like Don Rickles is okay if he's racist. And that's done,
To tell a street joke well is difficult, though. Like a real street joke. Like you did all the voices, Jarret. That was good.
That's true.
I get a stomach ache when I have to tell a street joke. They're like, tell me a joke. And I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know if I can remember the order of this. And, I'm going to blow the punchline. It's a lot easier to tell a regular joke on stage.
Well,
Absolutely.
Before I started doing stand-up, and I'm sure all of us have similar stories, but like I was obsessed with, like stand-up and comedy growing up. And I remember my first job in New York, I was a host at a pizzeria Uno, and we would get bored sometimes. And I just started telling people every street joke I could remember. And I didn't realize this. I had hours just like in there, and one would remind me of another one. And then people would just come up and I'd be like, what's the this? What do you call a this and a this together? I was just like, I can't believe I have all these just like in there, it's bananas.
Yeah.
I featured that.
You guys find that you have an incredible memory for like, not just stand-up that you watched growing up, but like which special it was and like what part of the special that took place on, where you're like, someone would go, this joke? And you go, oh yeah, no, I think that was Chris Rock's second special, like towards the last third of the special, right? It's just this weird thing. I imagine like taxi cab drivers are the same way with like road signs. Like they just have this incredible web of memory when it comes to that sort of thing.
You know what? I'm an SAT prep tutor, and there's a specific passage from a specific SAT that is a study about exactly that. It was London cab drivers and their spatial intelligence versus other people's. And they're like, no, it's a little bit thing, but it's a very learned process too. But they're like, oh yeah, they're very, very good, and they know. They're like, oh yeah, I know where that is. They can just go all around.
The section of my brain for dick jokes is much bigger than
yeah.
Get out Julie with your dick jokes.
Scientists are going to study his brain after Jay dies. They're like, look at this frontal cortex area. That's all dedicated to penis. It's unbelievable.
Look, a little tiny one for vagina. Not good on international living.
Look how dry it is, too. The cells
Why do they call you dry gray matter?
Well, I featured for this guy at the Comedy Cabana. First time I featured there, his name was Mr. Showtime, and he did about 8 minutes of jokes and a little bit of crowd work. It was kind of like stock crowd work, and then the rest of the set he lip sang, and the lights would go off, and he'd have glow things on his fingers, and he got a standing ovation every night. Wow! So. There's somebody who's actually reading jokes off a note card. I'm like, wow, what a craftsman, what an artist.
Wait, he wrote out note cards? Whoa, wow, that's impressive.
I would love, in all honesty, for him to go get a degree and then force everybody to call him Dr. Showtime. Nice to really worry. But this is Comedy Cabana. Where is it? That's South Carolina?
Yeah.
Where is that?
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach. So these are all Myrtle Beach tourists going, I ain't never saw nothing like that.
Yes, exactly.
Did he sell souvenir truck nuts at the end of the show?
That's good.
Here's something to remember the show by.
That'd be great if he ended his set with, people come away from a comedy show, they don't remember any of the jokes. So here's one for you guys. It's just truck nuts.
There's a couple of like Southeastern comedy circuits that will make you want to give up all of not just comedy, but like entertainment and humanity. Where you see some of these people absolutely crushing with like, the other day I was thinking about Ronald Reagan and you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Mr. Showtime. I hope he's not watching. No, he doesn't have a computer. What am I That's it. I should see what the young kids are up to.
One of his friends is going to watch this and page him about it.
Should we get to the old Jokeroons?
Let's get to these Jokeroons, guys.
If you want to guess the order, sound off now in the chat, and then Jarret will tell us the order.
And then I'm going to break your hearts because there's no way you're getting this, guys.
We
just started doing this. I would love it if our attitude towards it was like really antagonistic, like a wrestler, like a heel, you know? Just like, you idiots are never gonna guess this in a million years. Like a bunch of morons.
We got one guess from Steel Mold JBR. Definitely not true because there are 4
Because we have a
people
guest.
today.
Because we have a guest.
Idiot.
Every one of our fans is a moron.
We got a JRB guess. We got an RBJ.
Hey, what about Jay Black? He's got to get in there too. Idiots.
All of you guys
morons
are wrong.
4 guests.
4 people in this order. Jesus.
And by the way, before you guys get settled on 4, let me bring in my special guest, Mr. Showtime.
Whoa!
God. Oh my God.
You're really up in the ante on the antagonism.
RMS. Oh, we got an unsubscribe from Steel Mold. We got BRJB. That's our first 4-letter guess. All right, Jarret, what's the order?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I would love one of those comments come out and be like, all right, here's the thing I'm working on. It's a new kind of note card that I put my jokes on. What do you guys think about this? Our order this
light can start lip syncing. You guys tell me what you think of which song choice they did.
Yeah. Ooh, it's a 5x7.
Our order this week
My thing
is
glowy enough.
What do you guys think about this? Red instead of green. Our order this week is Jarret, Brett, J. Rob. Jarret, Brett, J. Rob. Jarret, Brett, J. Rob. That's
For
our
just a
order
quick
this
moment,
week.
I was like, you forgot our guest's name. And then I realized his name is a letter.
All right. Are you guys ready for my bit today?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, baby.
Okay. This is a joke about weed, guys. One of the effects of using marijuana is that it stretches out time when you're high. 5 minutes can feel like 30 minutes. And I didn't like getting high when I was younger because I was always trying to race to the future. I hated feeling it was taking longer to get to the next minute. But when you're old, every next minute is potentially the minute you die because you're old. So you want to stretch out your time for as long as humanly possible. And for me, I like to get so high that if I were to die in the next minute, it would still feel like I lived for a whole month. I like to get so high that when I go to the movies, every trailer is a separate movie. And that's the line that I wrote this whole bit around. So what do you guys think?
I think it's very funny. I would like for you to get super high and somebody be like, Jarret, what are you doing? And you're just high out of your mind. You're like, I'm living forever.
I feel like the beginning is a little too sincere, but I feel like that's the problem with a lot of my jokes. So
I like the idea of other drugs too, because you could be like with weed, it's like you extend time, but then sometimes I drink alcohol and I lose time.
Mm-hmm.
Then I take acid and I am time.
I had 2 thoughts. One, going back to dry beard, you could do a joke about, and when my wife complains or my girlfriend complains about how long I take, I say, why don't you just try getting high? Because then it would last forever. And then if
Cool.
you could use it as a saver later on, as a callback, if something doesn't go
flavor
well.
saver.
Yeah. If you're sitting there and it's like a joke bombs, you could just go, feels like I just smoked a lot of weed, because that moment felt weird.
Am I high right now?
Yeah, because that felt like an hour and a half, guys.
Mm-hmm. I will say that to me, this joke feels a little like something that I hate about comics that do jokes about weed is there's kind of like an unearned celebration of weed, where they just get on stage and they're like, guys, I love getting high. And everyone's like, wow. And so I would love it if there's a way to get a little more substance in this joke besides what I think are just kind of like cute ideas,
There might be a way to do it, just because I think it's a little top heavy, where you say, like, one of the things I love about getting high is that it takes a long time, blah, blah. I think maybe if you cut that off and you just jump into like, when I was little, I was always trying to get to the future, but now that I'm older, like, cut the weed out of the beginning.
Ooh,
Like, start with the when I was little, I always want to get the future, but now that I'm older, any minute I could die, which is why I smoke a lot of weed. Because when you smoke a lot of weed, every minute feels like forever. And then just do the bit as is, and you're cutting out the artificial applause at the very beginning on weed and getting into this sort of philosophical meat of the matter.
I love that. I think that's great. The entire thing that I liked was that I, got super high one day, went to the movies, and as a trailer was ending, I was like, I can't believe that was just a trailer. Like, I cannot believe it. I was so in it, and it really felt like it was in like long and intense. And I'm wondering if there's more meat there, even, like
100%. Where you can keep going. How come all these movies keep ending on cliffhangers? Like, they don't end when the movie's supposed to end. It's like they keep. I gotta see more, something like that.
Actually, with the way that they tell movie trailers now, you would never feel that way. You would be like, I saw the whole movie. Good, great. That's my experience every time I go to a movie theater now. I'm like, I don't need to see that.
when the preview that movie out of order. Jumped all over the place.
When the preview ends, you turn to your fiance and you're like, we gotta see the sequel.
I was gonna say, how maybe like taking the track of like, I gotta detective my way out of this and try to figure out if it was a whole movie. It's just like, I don't know. They usually don't show a whole bunch of movies back to back. Then again, I did finish a whole thing of popcorn, so that might have been a whole movie.
That's really good.
Must be a quadruple feature.
Yeah. It's like the way movies used to be. I get 2 full movies at a Nickelodeon. This is great.
When you stick around for the after credits Marvel scene, you're always like, it's so cool they put 2 Marvel movies in there.
I love this part of I love this movie credits.
Yeah, I liked the Words movie. Do more Words movie.
I think it's nice that Marvel listed all the people in their Patreon before they put the second movie up.
Anything else for this bit, y'all?
I wanted to just point out like a great structure thing that Jay kind of mentioned there, because sometimes what you can do is you can sort of start with the audience where something that they're familiar with, and then kind of go into your own world to be like, here's something that we're all familiar with, but here's a related thing that you haven't thought of. Mm-hmm. And I do agree with Jay that like if the topic is a little too trodden, then it almost feels meh to start off with that, because then everyone's like got preconceived notions as to what that bit might be about or where it's headed. But if you start with your internal thought, the thought that they probably haven't had, and then you ground it by bringing it back to something that they are familiar with, then you're like, okay, great. And you're sort of you're switching that order around. And I generally like that better, where it's like, here's something that I'm thinking that you guys have no idea about. And they're like, huh? And then when you bring it back, they go, oh yeah, that's true. I do agree with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the rabbit out of the hat part of it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't mind keeping it quick if you are all tapped for this bit, y'all. Anything else?
Gilmold says, is it Inception, where if you smoke more weed, you stretch time more and more?
Yes.
It's love, Murph. It's love.
The Grim
Matthew
Retail
McConaughey's like, it's weed, Murph. It's weed. Weed is what connects us all.
Your token is just a bowl that you're spinning.
That could be funny. If the more you smoke, the more time stretches out. Maybe heaven is just infinite weed. Where you're there forever and you're just kind of floating in a happy space. Something
that
like
ding was my light bulb going off. All right. Well, thanks everybody for the notes on this bit. Very much appreciate it. Next up, we got
Great work.
Upper Truck.
All right. Here is an addition to an old joke I have about going on a commercial audition for BJ's Wholesale. So I have this joke. I see somebody who looks like me on the elevator. I'm like, BJ's? And he's like, excuse me? So that's a joke. But afterwards, this is the follow-up that I just tried out, did pretty well. I want to clarify that I was on a television commercial audition, and the reason I want to clarify is because somebody came up to me after show and they said, hey man, so did you end up getting your commercial vehicle license? And I was like, I don't think they give those out via audition. I wish they did. It'd be great. Like, oh, you're an excellent driver, but I'm afraid you look nothing like your headshots, so we're going to give your license to Zendaya.
Brad, I like the idea of what an audition for a trucker's license would look like. It's like, can you put on this hat and be racist?
That's really funny.
That's funny. Could you say D's nuts again?
Your scene partner is just a little kid going like this.
Your scene partner is those truck nuts.
Yeah. That is great. Yeah, a little bit on the wording. I'm going to give you, because you said license twice. I would, if there's another way I could, like as if we're gonna give this tractor or something, or nah, we're gonna let Zendaya drive this tractor, or we're gonna let something. I don't know, like something to the effect of where now we get a little more into the specifics of what this commercial vehicle happens to be, whatever it is.
Right.
Zendaya's going to be hauling gasoline from Oklahoma to Mississippi, something like that.
Then Zendaya has to get these boiled nuts to Georgia immediately. The only thing about this Zendaya bit, I love the Zendaya part of it because it's a funny name to say, but like I kind of like the idea of who would be a type that you'd be going up against, that you could get like another joke in there, like about yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, who do you look like that you might?
Oh, me personally, yeah.
Personally, you know, like we like your look, but we're going for more of a, you know, whatever kind of thing. You know, like
I've been told Tobey Maguire.
no, we're looking for more of a less bloated Tobey Maguire. You know, what I mean? Like something like that, or like looking for you know what I mean? Like just something where it could play off of you and do a little bit more about you as an actor instead of Zendaya, or you know, we're going in another direction, something like that.
This is something you can incorporate. A callback.
What's that?
A callback for your commercial driver's license audition.
Not a callback for a joke, like a callback, like a second audition.
That genuinely confused me. It's too early for me.
I realized.
I just think it'd be funny for you to like just sit there and pretend like you're driving a truck, like Donald Trump. Like, all right, show me what you got. Like, like I'm beating the horn, everybody.
You get like a fake hitchhiker.
All right, now ask this hitchhiker for a BJ, or you're not leaving.
Did someone really come up to you after a show and ask that?
No, but I've always felt in doing that joke that there's a weird. I don't know. I've always been like, it feels like an end that's not tied up, that I'm specifically, it's like a joke I do in the top of my set often. And so I'm saying I went on a commercial audition, and it's just like, I guess I hear the word commercial in so many different fashions.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it was just an extra line to add in, really. Something that kind of nagged at me every time I said it.
We're to a lot of different things being done by audition. You know, like they don't give CDLs out by audition, but like what other things like?
Oh, that's a fun avenue to go.
Yeah, I'd like to audition for my doctorate of chemistry, please. I was like, here, put on the lab coat and look serious.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the reason why people trust TV doctors so much, is because they think that's how doctors get made regardless. You know? Yeah.
I actually had that thought one time. I was like getting on a plane and I saw the pilot, and he just looked too young and too weird. It was something really strange about it, because I'm used to seeing some dude who looks like he's in his 50s, and I'm like, pilot, great. But then when this guy looked like he was like 28, I was like, wait a minute. Does he know that he should have been cast in this? Like, what is he coming out for? So I love the idea of you having an expectation of what someone should look like just based on what we're used to seeing from like central casting. Well, I literally thought like in the realm of like casting, where I was just like, who's the casting director? I would never buy this guy as a pilot. That's just bad casting. I'm like, no, Rob, he's a real pilot. It has nothing to do with how he looks. It is just has to do with, did he go to pilot school?
God's casting director.
Right.
I'm sorry, I owed a favor to his uncle. That's why. He wasn't perfect for it.
Leedy and I were watching It Chapter 2 right after watching a show called Sharp Objects. And it has the same young redheaded girl in it, and then the older version of her who grows up in Sharp Objects to be Amy Adams. So then we watched It Chapter 2, and she grew up to be a different actor, and I was like,
oh, that's so
wrong.
funny.
I was like, you're Amy Adams when you grow up.
You're not whatever, Jessica Chastain or something.
Yeah.
I was watching the movie Geostorm, and Gerard Butler plays this guy whose brother looks, they're actually pretty close to the age, but it looks like it could be his son. But at the very beginning of the movie, Gerard Butler hits him. He's like, you got to help me out with this one, brother. And I started laughing in the theater because I was like, brother, no. Absolutely not. I think you meant son or grandson. Because
back when we were in high school in the late 90s together.
My roommates and I were joking about how like they just keep on fucking with this original Star Wars movies to like make it more in line with whatever bullshit they're coming out with now. So whether it's putting Hayden Christensen in for, the younger version of Anakin, and then the more recent one that I discovered or heard about was like they took this is just such a weird I'm not the Mandalorian, the Boba Fett show, which I'm just not enjoying at all. It's just so weird for my brain to be like, you really needed to cast the guy who played Jango Fett, not even Boba Fett, but the guy who was modeled after what the clones make, who is then becomes Boba Fett and 20 years older and fatter than what Boba Fett definitely looked like before. None of this makes any sense to me, right? And I was like, but then they even went so far as to dub over Boba Fett's like 2 lines in in the original films so that actor would have voiced those lines. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we? And so then we were joking that that you're gonna watch the original Star Wars and Alden Ehrenreich, the guy who plays Solo, is just gonna replace Harrison Ford. And be like, no, because that's what he looks like when he's young, because that's what Han Solo is. So it's going to go smoothly into Solo, a Star Wars movie.
That Boba Fett movie, the TV show, I love the fight scenes with 60-year-old actor from Boba Fett. It feels very late Steven Seagal. He's just tapping people and they're falling over. It's like,
I am not precious about this stuff at all. Like, if you want to cast this kind of person for that role that's already been established, I'm completely fine with it. But for some reason, the Boba Fett thing really gets under my skin. A character who said like 4 lines in the entire original series. And then I heard this guy with his...
He's a Kiwi. So
he's a New Zealand accent. And I'm just like, this is so not what he sounded like. It just really got under my skin. I have no idea where this came from. I don't care about
really
Boba
funny.
Fett. It's just like such an unforced error,
I really want an Ewok spinoff where they have to retroactively change all the Ewoks because now they've cast a famous young handsome actor to play a young Ewok or something.
All the Ewoks have very hard Boston accents. So they have to go back and redo Jedi.
Why do we cast Mark Wahlberg as an Ewok?
Shit, you're Princess Leia.
Hey,
I'm gonna go back to my village.
It's just Timothy Chalamet. They're like, we got to make Timothy Chalamet Ewoks now.
They're all Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, this guy's in everything.
You want to go back to our Ewok village and watch the Bruins?
I had the double-sided feature of The Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor, the terrible Ewok spin-off movies, on DVD. It was a double-sided. And I remember putting on subtitles and laughing so hard because a lot of the stuff they'll like write out what the Ewoks are saying. It'll say like Gunda, Gunda. But a lot of times it just says Ewokese in brackets.
That's a closed captioner who did not want to spend the rest of the afternoon. You know what? No one's gonna buy this on DVD. No one. I'm just gonna write Ewokese and go from there.
Cash your paycheck and do the director's commentary. All right, I don't want to hear it anymore. Dude, kid, we gotta fight the Empire. I fucking hate the Empire, man. Kid.
All right, yeah. Thanks for the notes, guys. I think it gives me some good avenues to work on. Appreciate it. All right, what's up next, Jarret? Who we got?
Next up, we got Jay Black. But before we get to Jay, just want to remind everybody that we got the hottest Patreon in town. Lots of awesome, dope, extra content. Patreon.com/ITA pod. A lot of great tiers up there. We got all the live shows on there. So go check it out. Patreon.com/ITA pod. Join for as little as $1 a month. And next up, we got a Jay Black.
By the way, on that Patreon, I do the entirety of Caravan of Courage as a terrible Mark Wahlberg.
Hell yeah.
It's well worth it. So this is a bit that I've done twice on stage, and I'm still trying to work out the mechanics of. It's essentially about teeth and how terrible the design of teeth are. And the premise is God explaining to the angels his new invention, humans, and how the teeth are going to work. And it's along the lines of like, all right, you know the new thing I invented, humans. I figured out the whole way the teeth are going to work. They're going to be born without them. And it's like, oh, great. So they don't do anything. Oh, no. They chew. They just come in later. painlessly? Oh no. It pushes through the sharp teeth push through their little baby flesh for months on end, and they cry, and it's painful. It's awful. What it's done then, right? No. Then 6 to 7 years later, all those teeth fall out and new teeth come in. Well, like over the course of a night? No. Over the course of several years. Well, then it's all done, right? No. Then, like when they're 18, 4 new teeth come in. Well, you've left room in there for those 4 teeth, right, God? Oh, no. They come in all sorts of messed up, and it's extremely painful for them. Anyhow, that's the thrust of the joke. I want to keep hitting that, oh, no. Like, no. Again and again, like I think that's like the thrust of it. I've had a couple of other thoughts about like they're going to come in all crooked, so we're going to need braces to fix them. But essentially, it's just how terribly teeth are designed, and if anybody was behind that, they're a moron. And I have some other like evolutionary stuff that goes with it, but that's the crux of the joke.
Okay, great. Then to stick along with this process, it's like this is the only thing that grows and then grows again, and then there's 4 more that grow again at the end there. But then what's wild is that unlike all the other stuff on our bodies, if you lose one, oh, now you're done.
Yeah.
Wait, so more grow back still? No. You lose that one. You had to. That is over. No more teeth.
Same idea as Rob, but when you get to the part where you're like, and then 7 years later, they all fall out. The agents can be like, oh, so it's like a cycle. Like every 6 years, you get new teeth. No.
You get the 2 and that's it. By the way, speaking around what you were saying about no other body parts do that, I just got this image of like we're all born with like tiny hands that fall off and the new hands come in.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was going to mention. I wrote down adult dick was my note. When's my adult dick going to come in? Like, nope, it's never coming in, buddy.
I like that. Adult dick.
It makes sense that God didn't do that, though, because then there'd have to be so many other, like types of fairy, because we already have the tooth fairy. We'd have to have the finger fairy, the leg fairy, the toe fairy, the ear fairy.
The dick fairy is just the fairy, actually.
Oh, no.
This is in the West Village.
Hang on.
They refer to themselves as fairies? I don't understand. What is wrong with you guys? This is crazy. Read Jay Black's fucking script. I bet you fairies all over that goddamn script. And everyone thinks it's hilarious, and it can't be aired.
I'm going to write a Tumblr about this. Maybe there's something about like, and you don't have to take care of them, right? Oh no, you have to take care of them every day. If you don't, it's searing pain until they fall out.
You use them for food, and then the food rots them away.
What? Yeah, you are all just one Skittle away from extreme pain.
My friend in high school, who was very skeptical, critical thinker, was asking his dentist too many questions. I remember him telling me, he was like, eventually I was like, okay, so what did hunter-gatherers do like about cavities and stuff? And he was like, they died at 28 from infection. And he was like, okay, sorry. He like pushed it too far.
That's really funny. Yeah, I love the concept of like, oh, so they're strong. Like, yes, but also very weak. Or, very susceptible. Yeah, just the idea that you're like, yeah, strong. But
their whole job is to touch the only thing that can destroy it. Right. It's like if Superman's job was like crumbling up kryptonite.
I like that. No, he's worked down at the kryptonite factory. But can't you get a different job? Like, I don't know. It's the only one that takes.
I like the idea that you are not born with them and that they have to grow in. There's just like a fun concept of that where I want to think of other things that have to grow, things that you're not born with, even if it's just a side joke. It's just like, no, you're not born with it. It comes with time, like crippling self-doubt or, you're not, this isn't a natural born thing, right?
Right, no, I like that. Yeah, specifically about the teeth thing, just as an aside, just in general, like they grow in, but they grow in through the gums. That's the thing that drives me nuts. Like, why design it that way?
But where else would they come in from?
Well, like, why not have holes in the gum? That the fact that they have to push through the fleshy part of the gum and that has to hurt the whole time. It's the dumbest shit. It drives me. Well, I've had 3 kids. I don't know if you guys have kids. My wife had to get up so much while they were teething. It was such a pain in the ass.
I think actually, if you can throw that in there, the pain and torture of your children, I think that actually will inform the joke a little bit more for me. Like, you being more amped up about how stupid this is and
Right.
making God into a buffoon. I think if that's informed by watching your child in actual pain, which a lot of people will be able to relate to,
Sure. Yeah,
I think
okay.
that will help me a little bit in the bit, get on your side of how dumb it is, and then I'm a little bit more on with the rant.
All right, that might be a good opening to see, like, you don't realize how badly the human body is designed till you watch your kids go through teething.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that a lot.
Perfect.
I like too, like you looking at your baby's big, beautiful eyes, like perfectly, exactly as they're meant to be. You know, they're not going to grow any larger. They are just there. And then I'm looking at these chiclet ass, stupid baby teeth that could not even saw through a carrot. I'm like, what is this?
I was just thinking before their teeth come in, and then you look at their empty little face asshole.
Yeah. Because everything else about a baby is just like, oh, but nose, look at your ears and your eyes. What is with your fucking mouth, your hole in your face? What is this? I can't do anything with this. I'm supposed to feed you vegetables, but like you can't eat them.
Oh, you're running this joke idea by your wife, and you're like, why can't they just be born with teeth? And she's like, no.
Yeah, I think it's a great through line. I don't know if you could go a anti-creationist route if you want to make God more of a buffoon about how idiotic it is.
Right.
You're kind of already set up for that.
The whole thrust of it is either God didn't design us himself or he's bad at it. There's the only two ways we can go. And I think you could end something on like, well, the angel's going, why would you do this? And he just goes, hey, I work in mysterious ways. All you just gotta wait. I got a plan.
This is a landmine of an idea here. It's completely contrary to what you've got already. But I was thinking about it because I was like, yeah, why are all of these issues like still a thing, And it struck me that we're just sort of like in a really awkward phase of evolution where the things that we had when we were animals are kind of like being phased out, but our culture and our lives are going so fast that our bodily evolution is kind of taking a hard time catching up to that. And so that's just like an idea. I don't know where, what is that face from? I don't know if you did that intentionally or not, but I just got like this whole looks could kill from you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Fucking idiot.
I'm sorry, but my bit was I thought Brett was talking, so I went, Brett?
Oh, I missed that. All I heard was the disgust afterwards.
Sorry.
This is the one episode I'm not talking tons of evolution and everybody else is.
So yeah, that's obviously like a huge idea that I don't know. It's just for the brain, Maybe it will kick around in there and could be incorporated at some point.
I was thinking, Jay, what if there's a different premise? It's not that God is just like full forward, like, yeah, this is why. Like, what if there's like a justification as to why they're so weird? Like, it was time for his meeting with the angels, and they're like, so you got the teeth design, right? The food design thing ready? And he's like, yeah, it's right here. And they're like, okay, so what's the first part? He's like, they don't have them at first, and then okay, all right, and maybe that would make the weird design make a little more sense.
I like that. I always like the idea of a boardroom where he's got like a presentation going.
Yeah. He's just winging it.
What if he's being lobbied by the tooth industry? And that's the reason why we have wisdom teeth is they're like, you have to fit 4 more in. I'm sorry, for our bottom line, you have to fit in 4 more.
Yeah, there is something. I mean, it would detract from the whole, well, maybe it doesn't have to, but I do like the idea of teeth made by committee, where it's like we were just trying to get all the pork into this one bill. And they're like, okay, we'll do no teeth and we'll do a full set of teeth, but we're also going to do a second set of teeth and we'll do the last 4 at the end for Senator Manchin here.
We've got to get our dental floss friends a little their beats wet.
We're putting spaces in between the teeth because of the dental floss industry.
Yeah. Oh, and then no teeth again at the end of life? Okay, got it. Fine, yeah. The last little addendum.
I got one edit for your joke, Rob, about the wisdom teeth being Manchin. That's a full-on cinema move. Oh,
yeah.
All right. Anything else for this bit, y'all?
I don't know. I'm tired. Great bit, Jay. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me. This is all good stuff, guys. Thank you.
All right, and next up,
You mean our headliner, Brett Drake?
Woo!
the one. You may have seen him on Is This Anything on Access's Live at Gotham. Please give it up for the man with the elbows and the fingers, Rob Ryan.
Yeah, that was so nice. This was great. Thank you, guys. I've got an idea. It's not so jokey just yet, but this is a fun fact that I've learned. That humans crochet things, but machines actually cannot crochet, which is really interesting. So if you ever see like a crochet bag or a crochet sweater, that is definitely not done by a machine. So if you ever go to like a Target and there's like a $20 or $30 like crochet thing, that's some human rights violation has occurred there at some point along the way, because that's just a fact. You cannot make this thing. And I was blown away by this, and you know me, I did not just accept it out, at first blush, and I was looking up all these YouTube videos, and sure enough, it was definitely confirmed that machines can do like one maybe type of stitch, but not even close to the kind of stuff that you would need to do to make anything, even a sock you couldn't make with a machine. So anything that's crocheted is all handmade, which is kind of nice to know whenever you're buying one. But also if you want to be like good to the people on this planet, probably like go ahead and like pay the price that it should be paid and buy from people, whatever. That's just a thing that I learned. But then I was trying to think about this and I go, well, you know what? That's true. When I watched The Matrix, there was no crochet
box.
No crochet, yeah. So in Terminator 2, when the machines took over, it's like, yeah, okay, you took over humanity, but guess who doesn't have cute hats? You guys.
All the machines are like,
They don't have cute little scarfies.
All their robot grandmothers are like, I'm sorry.
We don't know what to do. We shouldn't have. And then I was thinking, in The Matrix, they were probably like, battery, you crochet, battery.
That's the reason why they let Jada Pinkett Smith's character live for so long. And the machines like their scarves. So.
In the new movie, some of the machines become friends with the humans. Spoilers. And I just liked imagining like the little robot, and then he's got like a cute knit cap, and I'm like, ooh,
he's a good one.
That's cultural appropriation.
That's our caps to wear.
I picture like it's the machine equivalent of getting your hair braided when you go down to Jamaica. Wearing a knit hat, and like all the other computers are like, "Oh, dude, come on!" It's like, no, I just like their culture. I like their.
I went down. Oh! He goes to Zion once, and now, all of a sudden.
Oh my god,
Sweater,
guys! But what we did to the humans was terrible, guys. It really.
Yes. Look, I agree. I totally agree. But I like the way it looks.
You have to bring this up every Robot Thanksgiving.
Dad, you're not supposed to wear that. What? I like the way the knit scarf looks on me. I like it. God, that's just... Wow, it's bad enough we made them into batteries. Now you got to wear their clothes.
I love this idea, though, that robots can't knit. They can't. Like, all the computing power that's gone into, like, playing chess. And they're just like, yeah, no, they can't. I want to see, how they'll have, like, games between the robot and, like, Kasparov and, Bobby Fischer and stuff, and then there's just, like, a robot next to a grandma. Just fucking house. Fucking dominated.
There should be some captures that instead of, is this, point out the traffic signs, it's just a picture of crocheting. It says, can you do this?
You can't sign up unless you make socks.
It's so weird, though, that they can't do that. They can't crochet.
Yeah. I mean, relax, Jarret. You can't crochet. Say it like it's so easy.
That's ridiculous, Brett. What are you trying to say?
Here's a question. Is it because robots, like, they never bothered to try to learn, like teach?
That's funny,
robots?
too.
I was wondering if there was like, just a lack of will, but but apparently as far as the internet is concerned, it is just at the moment just far too complicated. I mean, maybe that some amazing master designer engineer could come up with something that goes, yeah, I guess we can kind of make it that, but it's just so wildly impractical at the moment to be like, there's so much going on to actually do it with all the different stitches. Like, we're going to teach him how to do that.
This whole thing feels like a underseen Hulu documentary, like the quest for the knit. The quest for this sweater, where it's just like a bunch of computer scientists, in a place in Anchorage trying to build a computer to do this.
Crochet.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an image in my head of a future where there is all the machines have all taken over, humans are dead, and there is one rebellious teen robot that doesn't believe the gospel that it's been told about its existence, and it goes to the master, mother of machines, and it goes, I am the great mother, I know all, and there is, and then, oh, you know everything? Then what's this? And the machine is just like, witch! You're a witch!
It makes me think of Planet of the Apes, where they go to the neutral zone and it's Statue of Liberty, but she's wearing a sweater.
I love the idea, Brett, of the CAPTCHA thing. That resonated with me. So, like, thinking of if I'm in, like, Blade Runner 2049 or something, or whatever the movie's called, and, like, there's, like, checkpoints where someone has to do a granny stitch, and they're just, like, do a granny stripe, I'm trying to look up other stitches. Do a star stitch. Do a puff stitch. And you're like, I don't know what to do. What were those things called? Like, variants or incombinants? Or there's something named for the
replicants.
Replicants,
right?
there you go. Yeah, replicants. Yeah, I keep going the sci-fi movie route is funny for me. Just
Johnny Five from Short Circuit is Johnny Five is alive, and he holds up that he's crocheted. They're like, oh my god, we can't put him down now.
that's the real Turing test.
Also, like the idea that there's a bunch of robots watching a human hold up crochet, and to them he's like a magician. Hold up sweaters, and they're like,
I wonder if is there things that we as humans can't do that we marvel at other species or whatever being able
we
to
can't.
do?
I mean, there's so much, like we can't see so much of the electromagnetic spectrum.
Yeah,
A
there's
lot of other
that.
species can.
You ever thrown a ball to a seal and they keep on bouncing it on their nose? We can't do that.
No, we can't do that.
Speak for yourself, dude. Throw me a ball. Watch
Can't do
what happens.
photosynthesis. That's true.
Photosynthesis. Yeah.
We can't do photosynthesis.
I love that. That's so funny. It conjures up so many funny images. It's too bad that we're doing it last, because I'm sure Leedy would have a ton of drawings for us.
Speaking of which, Leedy, Short Circuit, what a pull. Wow. Never would have guessed in a million years. I showed that movie to Kirsten for the first time a couple years ago.
I love
know?
Short Circuit. It's one of my
That's a
favorites. It
great
made me
movie.
really sad about the dude actually being spray painted brown, and it's
Oh,
great.
Short Circuit too. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
and
was
he's
that
in
only
one
in
as
the
well.
second one?
No, he's in both. You're right. What's weird about that movie also is that they have this weird, like, flirty relationship, the robot and Stephanie, where he walks in on her in the bathroom and he goes, Stephanie, nice software.
Wouldn't
And
that
then
be your hardware?
They have like wait, he says software.
But that would
You
be your
know.
hardware.
It would be her heart. Yeah, yes, Rob.
I'm just saying, if he's a computer, he should fucking know.
That's how you can tell he's a human, is because he makes one fucking mistake, Rob. Then they have this dance where they dance to More Than a Woman, and he's singing more than a woman. You are more than a woman to me. It's weird.
There's a whole string of like weird sexual relationships in mid '80s family movies. Because if you remember Howard the Duck and the girl there, like there was a ton of sexual attention between the two of them. So
Yeah, I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, I think I'm disturbed by this. I thought it was going to be a talking duck, and I don't know what's happening.
Anybody else really turned on right now? Yeah.
not here to kink shame.
Love is love, man. Love is love.
All right. Anything else for this bit, y'all?
Please think of something else.
When
I did like the throwaway to, so if you see something crocheted in a store, that's definitely a human rights violation or exploited labor or something
And
like that.
And I liked it after you said, fun fact.
You can't teach a robot how to do this, but you certainly can teach a 6-year-old Indonesian child how to do it.
Well, that's how I know that 6-year-old Indonesians are not
human?
robots. Maybe we're just trying to find out. Maybe they got a big robot problem over there.
Maybe that's how the Chinese government justifies it. We need to know if they're robots. I don't want to do this, but this could be an army of robot children for all we know. Yes, know it.
You got the Red Cross bursting into a door, be like, we got another room of 100 not robots. Let's go.
We don't want to see you abusing any AIs. The children are fine. That's too far.
Do you think this might be funny to incorporate the idea that robots can't crochet because only grandmothers can? Like nobody else can besides grandmas, you know?
Oh, that's funny.
Like maybe that's where your brain goes when you first hear that fun fact, you know, and then you learn that it's a problem, but you know, that children can crochet because Indonesia.
Or maybe you have to wait. We have to wait for the robots to turn 68 before they can start learning how to crochet. Like it happens when you turn 68. Like all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know what? Hand me that yarn. I'm gonna make a sweater.
All right. Anything else for Rob, y'all?
No, but great joke, fun bit. I love to see you flesh that out.
What I'm realizing about us as creatives is that if we ever need juice, all we have to do is somehow connect whatever bit we're talking to a movie where robots take over the world, because we love it. We love it. It's in our bones. We go on for hours when we have that.
Jay, thanks for joining us today. You were awesome, man. We'll love to have you back sometime. Where can people find you?
The only place to look for me is Twitter. I'm on no other social media. I don't do visuals, so don't look for me on Instagram. Jay Black is funny on Twitter. Please follow me so that I can be happy for a little bit.
Jay is hilarious on Twitter. I highly recommend.
Ditto that. Second that. All right. Well, if that's it for the bits,
Make me co-host.
then
Somebody co-host Leedy. It's time to
co-host Leedy. It's time that we co-host Leedy. This is the part of the show where we co-host Leedy.
First up, I swallowed myself.
Oh God,
That's just a
this makes me so uncomfortable.
That is nightmarish. That is really terrible.
No.
At the request of our listeners, I'm going to start now explaining what is happening in the drawings and what a one to start. I'm now deep throating my own leg in this animation from Leedy.
I don't even remember what this is a reference to.
I said I swaddled myself.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Jay thought I said I swallowed myself.
Oh, my God.
That must
what
have
a
been
nightmare.
horrible for you, Jarret, to not remember. Terrible.
Oh, my God.
You're gonna have to draw another one of me rock hard right now.
Yeah. He's doing great. He's working the shaft and
All right, next I have The Anatomy of Jay Black's Brain. Penis jokes,
movie ideas.
vagina jokes, and then dry.
It's a
Lifetime
picture of Jay Black's inner thoughts, and it says penis jokes, dry, vagina jokes.
lifetime movie idea.
Lifetime movie ideas.
Then I have, Mom, my baby head off.
It's a little girl who's missing. She's holding up her other small
baby
hand.
lip. Gotta put it under a pillow.
Oh, Jay, something you could throw in for when the angels are talking to God about the baby teeth and how it goes on for so long, and just like, and we're always going to time it right around picture day at the kids' school.
That's good.
Then I have the Dick Fairy.
I mean, I could explain the Dick Fairy, but you know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I like the bag of dicks. That's what
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I like how lovingly, it's like, it's truly like, this is my gift to the world. Gives off this dick.
A regal berry.
She's very nurturing, I'm sure. Then I've got, I'm
so cold.
And then I have-
segue look.
then I have, wait, don't take the boobs away.
Oh, that's Bill Murray from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We've got a wonderful animation of Bill Murray crawling desperately for
breasts.
the lack of boobs.
That's lovely.
And last but not least, I'm an ally.
It's
Happy
so
robot.
cute.
Thank
With a
you.
scarf and a hat and their niche.
That's so beautiful. And
That's it for me.
Leedy
Yay.
Corbin. Where can they find you,
people find
Leedy?
you?
You can find me on all the socials under my name, Leedy Corbin. You can find me where else? Oh, follow me on Patreon. Join my Patreon. Patreon.com/Leedy Corbin.
Another person who cannot be replaced by robots, Leedy Corbin. Please follow her.
Guys, I got some good stuff for next week's catch-up.
Oh,
Okay.
future catch-up.
Next catch-up.
Tune in next week on the catch-up.
Thanks
Thank
for
you all
watching,
for joining
everybody.
us.
Outro goes here. Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved, like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you got to join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITAPod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.